Are you looking for quality, handcrafted, one-of-a-kind, unique items? Look no farther than Off the Square Artisans. We have over 40 artists ranging from woodworking to blacksmithing, photography, rug weaving, handmade soaps, and everything in between. If you're looking for home decor or a gift for that hard-to-shop-for friend or family member, come on in to Off the Square Artisans, located at 205 East High Street, 1 block east off the south side of the Rockville Square. Wednesday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays, 1 to 5 p.m.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The fly's still here.
I know, you didn't get it.
Did the fly come to the first meeting too?
Yes.
I think Sarah brought it with her. All right, let's get started. You all received the minutes to the meeting for 6:15 and 7:06.
Yep.
And we reviewed them. Is there any changes, corrections, questions?
Seeing that, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for both meetings as presented.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. The claims and warrants. End of month 2023. $167,905.57. July 20th meeting, $265,894.48. We've got an invoice from Industrial Supply for $767.01. And then we got budget refunds, $16,592.11. And then down there, Kathy, please.
Oh,
Well,
We
we
gotta
need a
do it
motion for the
separate.
three,
Okay.
and then industrial supplies separate. We need a motion.
Okay.
I move that we pay the claims and warrants of $167,000, et cetera, and make payment for the July 20th meeting and the budget refunds in the amount stated.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And then I make a motion to approve the industrial supplies.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Pay the bills.
Oh my.
Breakfast, so this Debbie.
We need to meet more often.
What's that?
It's a lot.
And budget, that gas stuff, like it did make a big difference.
That's a pleasant change.
Black pen for official.
Yes, we gotta give it back to him.
It's the last one.
Check on me.
It's got a sticky on it.
I wouldn't trust me. Easier to read, get going. Tasha always
Slipping them in there.
leaves me a sticky to remind me there's one in there, so then I put a sticky on it.
payroll warrants for 6/22, 6/29, 7/6, 7/13, 7/20, in amount of $37,839.03.
Make a motion for the payroll warrants.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And bank reconciliations for the end of the month, June 2023. Utilities, $3,519,096. Town is $1,661,150.81. Payroll, $3,078.36, and customer deposit, $36,360 even.
Make a motion to accept the bank reconciliations.
Thank you.
Second.
Just wait.
Oh, boy.
Aren't you special?
Okay, we got one billing adjustment in the amount of $40.54.
Make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Let's go around the room. Nathan?
Yes. Like me to speak. I'm excited to talk to you guys right now. I got a few things just for the board members to say. I'm here just to share with you kind of what my plans are, and doing so just to try and make sure I've got the town's blessing, and trying to identify maybe where we might have some issues possibly with what I'm trying to do, or maybe just concerns and something that we can look through. But I've just a little background. I grew up here in Montezuma. I moved to Dana in the 5th grade, but my first job growing up was washing dishes at the Tasty Freeze and Janet's Family Restaurant, where my Aunt Janet I wanted to make a little cash, and she helped me out. Shortly after that, my grandpa would give me a few hogs every year, and I would raise them, put them in the fair, and then my Aunt Janet would always buy them, and she'd do a whole hog sausage, and that's the sausage she used for her biscuits and gravy. And I just remember going in there with the smoke haze and the pink fluff and the strawberry pie and the biscuits and gravy and all those good things.
Swiss steak on Sundays.
Yeah. I mean, so many things. The turkey club that was like this, and the little mints on the way out. I remember all that. I grew up in there. And then, somehow, when I worked with her and baled hay for Jim Boozenbark, and detasseled for Jim Boozenbark and baled hay for a few guys. And when I turned 16, that summer when the fair was going on, I said, I don't want to work in this hot little kitchen anymore. And I told myself I'd never work in a restaurant again. And I went and I got a job at IGA for a few years in Clinton, facing the shelves. And but somehow in college, when I was trying to make money, I fell back into waiting tables and bartending and things like that. And I ended up taking my first job in Washington, D.C., running restaurants when I graduated college. And I had a mix of degrees, biology, was planning to go to med school, and I ended up going and running 6 Mexican restaurants in D.C. and did a bunch of things there for about 11 years. So I'm passionate about the food industry, and even right now I don't do anything in the food industry, and over the last 4 or 5 years I might have dabbled in it 6 months or so, or maybe like the last 4 years. So I kind of taken a break, tried some other things, but 5 years ago I approached the owner of One West Crawford, the brick building on the river. I have a vision for that place of having an amazing bar and restaurant here in Montezuma on the river in that building right across from Marty Jeffrey's shop. I approached the owner about 5 years ago, tried to purchase the building, and he still was tied to a lot of things inside the building and didn't have the time, or wasn't on his schedule to do with that stuff what he wants to do yet. So he gave me a really high price and just couldn't do it, and he wasn't 100% motivated anyway because he had things he wanted to accomplish in there and it was way down on his list. I reapproached him about a month and a half ago, and 5 years later, 4 years later, things are a little bit different. Now he doesn't care about any of that stuff, and he's only going to sell me the building if he can leave all the junk in there. Right? But he is willing to sell and 100% motivated, and it was just about a week ago that we got an intent to sell. So we've got a document holding the property for us, and we expect to close on August 15th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm super excited. It's not just like some old building that I want to fix up. I've truly had a vision for that property, and I know that can be a very special place in Montezuma. And I know I can do it all on my own without the town's assistance, but I'd like to really make this thing something for the community. And there's certain things that I would need to try and make this business really go and make it accessible and stuff like that. So anything that I discuss real quick is not a necessity, but it's me and where I'm at in the thought process, and I'm also trying to be as transparent as possible. Even in the information I provided you there's a full P&L that shows you what I expect to bring in my first year, what my costs are going to be. You know, everything's kind of laid out. Now I'm just trying to break even the first year, and I'll get to that in just a second. But the first thing is I want to sell alcohol. I want it to be a bar on the river where you can have a nice dinner and see the sunset over the Wabash. So I know there's only so many liquor licenses allowed per town, or based on what was issued before, or if your town's growing, you can get another liquor license, but if it's shrinking, there's no way. I don't know what's happened with the Tom's Tavern liquor license, but I know that there were, I'm pretty sure, 3 premise locations, or 3 on-premise locations, which was Tom's, Dick's, and the Fish and Game Club, was my understanding. So I'm trying to track down, I got to talk to Jerry and Tom and see if I can trace the pass of that Tom's liquor license. But whoever has that wants to charge me like $50,000, like I'm going to say, all right, let me try and go another route. There are ways to, with the town support and the county support, if I have the town support and the county support, we can petition to get a new liquor license for this business. I've done this for Golden Corral in Terre Haute during the pandemic, which is just a one-off place on its own. And then also, like, towns can even designate like a district that you can do this development in. Now, it still has to be approved by the city and the county, but so hopefully I can get a liquor license easily. But I'd love if I got to that process, the town would be willing to help me acquire a liquor license.
You can go online and look that up to Alcohol and Tobacco Commission.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot more liquor licenses in town than that. But
back in the day, right?
Yeah. I mean, there was, and Jack Wilburn had one there at the restaurant and the liquor stores, but you've got to compete with the liquor store and the gas station. Anybody that sells alcohol takes one of those permits. Mm-hmm. So there's...
so the gas station, all these people that are just starting to sell liquor in their gas stations, they've grabbed those permits.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I got to fish through. So, you know, if I can't get one, and I want to try it and do it without all the paperwork, right, and all that stuff where I can just get it from someone. We may have to, I may approach you later down the road just to maybe see if you can assist me with that. And then there's some additional services that I kind of want to do outside of just a normal restaurant. A couple of the guys that are going to be really running the food service for me, we're farmers, we're gardeners, you know, and we produce a lot of produce. Between the three of us, we produce more produce than we'd need for a restaurant. We have this idea of the chef's market where you're checking out and things like that. There's a kiosk where right now we've got all of our fresh vegetables, fresh honey, maybe fruits or jams that we make, things like that. And some products might become popular, like a chicken salad or this or that or the other, and we may have some of that stuff on display in a cooler. Cakes or pies or things like that. So we have that idea as a chef's market. That plays into the restaurant more than the other things. But I have this idea of being there on the river, and I don't think anyone really takes advantage of the river like they do Sugar Creek. And I know there was just a death in town. It's really sad, so it's kind of, you know, weird to bring this up. But, you know, I want to provide some canoe and kayak rentals where I put you in at Newport and you float down to the restaurant, or I put you in at the restaurant and you go to the boat ramp in Clinton and we come pick you up. But nothing big, just like one trailer with 6 canoes, one trailer with 6 kayaks, no tubes, and that would be it. And we might even just do it where it's adults only and 18 over or something like that. But I want to take advantage of the river, and I love fishing that river too. And so an idea behind that as well with all that is we'd have a boat, we'd have it tied up, and maybe down the road sometime, some of my employees, we might do like fishing, take people out fishing on the river. I just want to, maybe down the road I build my own boat ramp there. You know, like I just want that place to be access to the river, but also a place to hang out. So with the canoe and kayak rentals, I would have those trailers, and I picture myself getting like one of those big vans, like a big box van, traverse van to drive people around in. And I'm really passionate about the history of Parke County and all the covered bridges. And when I was a little kid, that's what I drew all the time, were covered bridges and beautiful countryside kind of things. And I want to drive people around for an hour and a half or 2 hours, not just during covered bridge, but give them like a county tour, take them through 10 covered bridges. I've got a little Airbnb started out on my property, and we're thinking about maybe adding a few more cabins, kind of where my little farm is at. And we love to be able to host the tourism like that, where we have places for people to stay. We have informational kind of tours and things like that, very similar to what you guys do at the canal during the Covered Bridge Festival. And also the building being on the canal is very, very cool as well, because once all that brush is cleared and you can see the river, you actually see the canal. You know, and I don't even know what year the building was built or what the history is or anything like that, but I know the further we dig, I know it's an old building, and it'll get more interesting as we go. You know, but what's my next point? Proposed adjustments to city parking ordinance. I just read through some stuff. On the next page there, it lists literally right there by the restaurant, Crawford Street between Washington and Water, both sides, 2-hour time limit, business patronage only. I love that. That's great. That's perfect for the restaurant. That kind of saves all those spots for the businesses there. That's wonderful. The only thing I'd like to think about is it does say that semi-trailers can park there. And it's okay with me. But if down the road we were so busy that parking was an issue, I might approach you to maybe ask to get that changed to where we had some parking available there. I'm even willing to, on the next page, there's a little diagram of where I propose parking for the business. The 2 spots at the top of the page are on my property. The one over to the side, you have parking spots where like the hog roast and everything set up there during Covered Bridge. They're paved and they got a nice curb. But if you go on the other side of the buildings, you still have the easement there, but it's kind of white rock grown up with grass. I wouldn't expect that just to be for my customers, but if you guys allowed me, I'd clean that up and put new rock down and maintain it and all that, just to have a strip of nice parking right there. That would be very good for my restaurant. But that's where I propose the parking. And heck, maybe if I can work a deal with Marty, you know, I could pay him a little bit every month, and he might just take some extra time and organize his cars and poke them up toward the alley. And in the evenings when he's closed, I have a couple rows of parking right there too. I'm sure he'd work that out with me if I, you know, gave him a little cash or something. But I don't need that, but that's just when reading through the whole town ordinance book and all that stuff, that's just something that popped out to me. And then proposed adjustment for noise ordinance or stipulate hours for live music. You know, I'd like to have a band on the weekends twice a month or something like that. There's not a bunch of homes around there. I know there's, I think, a place that Eddie Kiner lives in now with a lady maybe on the corner, and then a house along the river just further down. That might be the only things we could disturb. But in the noise ordinance, it just is kind of vague. There's no time. It just says, hey, if you're annoying somebody, we can come tell you to stop it. Basically, if you're annoying someone's senses, then we have a right to come send somebody to make you stop. I'd like just if we did get into it and there was an issue, if we could help stipulate maybe an exact hour on Fridays and Saturdays. I know through the week people should be quiet when the sun's down, right? And in the winter that's 6 or 7 p.m. But on a Friday or Saturday night, I'd like to be able to have a band or something or live music going on until maybe midnight on a Friday or Saturday. If the noise ordinance is 11, well, you know, we'd live with it. I think that's maybe what most towns do, but we might have to approach that in the future. You know. And then the sewer tap, water tap, service to the property, irrigation service for garden and landscaping. We want to make the place look beautiful, and that's the first thing I'll do. I'll probably be working on this building for 1.5 years or 2 years before I ever open a restaurant. Like, I'm going to doll it up, and I'll have the whole property outside looking gorgeous before I even pull a wire or do anything inside. I want to get all that done first. So we're going to have a big garden there and produce a bunch of stuff on site, and I want to have nice landscaping, so all that. I spoke to, I haven't met him yet, but that's you. I spoke to this gentleman earlier, and he informed me everything about really what I need about the sewer tap, water, irrigation, things like that.
Nathan, have you checked out, is any part of that property in the flood zone?
So some of it is, yeah, the lower parts are. But it's an existing building.
And you don't plan on expanding?
Well, right now, no. Now, can we do something maybe in the future? Yeah, but where the building's at right now and it's existing, yeah, we can do any work we want there. But even an expansion on top of the hill, I've thought about that and looked into it, and I don't know, there's one section that's right up level with the road, but there's a storm sewer line that runs parallel to the road and then goes to the river, which would prevent me from really, without paying you guys to make big changes, would restrict me from building off of that side. And then I don't want to take up the parking that's on my property that already has concrete and everything on the other side. So I'd love to build the kitchen outside of the building and just do all my new plumbing and water and everything from there, and have the entire building as a, you know, kind of as your restaurant space and bar space. But money, you know, I'm basically spending everything I got now to be able to get the building, and now I got to cut the trees myself and do all that for a few years and try and, you know, buy equipment cheap and get it all put together, you know. So I think I have people to help me, but you'll see on that P&L I put $1,000 in per month for like a bank note. I don't want to have a bank note. But as I go through it, there may be some big ticket items like an exhaust hood or something like that that will be maybe $40,000, and I'm like, yeah, well, I can pay a little bit monthly for that and I can handle that, but if it was in a piece of equipment that might be $1,200, I'll probably bite the bullet and buy it myself. I got to weigh those things out as I go through and see what kind of deals I can get.
That property goes from basically the old highway right away clear up to that
house.
That house.
Yeah, it's just under 7/10 of an acre. It'll just be gorgeous when you clear all that, save all the big cottonwood trees and everything down there. What else did I have? Brush and tree clearing. I spoke to somebody at the utility office today, and they said that you can clear trees and brush, you can burn that in town, but it has to be between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., and it has to be controlled. So I'd probably just work that hillside slowly, dig a pit, and I'd follow the rules. I'd have a fire going at 6 a.m. and I'd have it in a pit and I'd burn it all day, and then that evening I'll cover it up and put it out, and we'll go start the next day again. But I wanted to make sure that that's okay. You know, I know I won't be burning a lot at once, but I'll probably spend $10,000 or $15,000 hauling off all those trees and brush if I have to haul it off. Is that kind of? I just was told that by somebody. Is that kind of in line with?
The ordinance says you can.
Yeah, it says paper, cardboard, and wood.
Yeah, you just can't burn anything that would be,
Electric on there.
Plastics and-
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then I just wanted to say a few things that I think that the business will do for the community. First off, just off the bat, it'd be great if we're successful and I can do a bunch more down the road. I've even, aside from this, I've shown interest to Paul and Diane, maybe in the last 6 months, that I'd really like to participate on the park board a little bit too. Maybe not jump full head in and all that, but there's things I'd like to do at the town as well. And the park board I thought was a good start. I like what you guys do every year and the things that are going on and the Halloween and all that. I really enjoy it. But first off, the first year, even at so Jerry's Italian does like 1.2, 1.3 million a year. And my projections are half of what Jerry's Italian does. So fairly modest, very conservative when it comes to revenue. But even at that, we'll have jobs provided to the town that I'll be paying $265,000 in wages a year for new jobs that are, and that's at that low of, I mean, that would almost double if we were doing what Jerry's is doing. And then the estimated revenue for the town, just on utilities, will be between $20,000 and $25,000 a year, probably, just for electric, gas, sewer, and water. And then I know that there's a couple people that will be moving to town, whether that's a rental or purchasing, but some of my key team people that have 4 young children, they're going to be going to Montezuma, they're going to get a couple houses in town, and there will probably be 10 or 12 people, a couple different families that'll move to town as well once we get this thing going. Sorry for jabbering, but that's pretty much what I had for you. We're super excited, and on the P&L you can see, even just to make this thing work, we've got to do a little over $500,000 a year just to make money, which I think is easily doable if we have the liquor license. If we can do some events or weddings every so often on the weekend, get some rental fees, the chef's market and selling the produce. I can, if I can work it to where I've got an uncle that would love to be on the river and just be in a boat. And so I see my Uncle Aaron potentially being the guy who, he does the chartered fishing trips and does the canoes and the kayaks and shuffles people around and all that. He won't be the one to do the tours. He won't, he's a little grumpy. But I've got all the history though. Like I want to be in the van driving people around, telling them about this bridge, that bridge. The interesting thing about this area is 20 or 25,000 years ago we were in an ice age. Everything was covered with ice. The Great Lakes weren't even there, but the glacier that formed the Great Lakes, it stopped right here across Parke County, the very front edge of it, and went past Raccoon Lake and all the way down to Monrovia and Morgan County and across Ohio. But that's why these ravines and all that are crazy on 41. And that's from the glacier was 1.5 miles thick above us, and it took 8,000 years to melt. So all that water went down through the glacier and cut all these ravines out. And this area is really special. People don't know, but you can go to the mouth of Big Raccoon, just right here south of town, and catch walleye in the Wabash River. There's a huge one in the Fish and Game Club hanging on the wall. People don't know that. Billy Goat Island, the mouth of Sugar Creek. This is a beautiful, amazing area. And I went from the mouth of Sugar Creek to Big Raccoon and Billy Goat Island. I just want, you watch. I get something going there and people see my canoes out on the river all the time. There'll be 2 or 3 more people trying to have a canoe and kayak rental business, and they'll be launching from everywhere. It's just beautiful. It really is. From the mouth of Sugar Creek down there. It's dangerous, but it's really gorgeous. So I want to exploit all that, and those are the kind of things I'll be talking about if people come and hang out with us. But really, I'd love for everybody in this town to have a place at 5 a.m. where they can wake up and get a cup of coffee.
Have you looked into liability insurance on your more ambitious ideas beyond the restaurant?
Yeah, so one of my really good friends, his name's Colton. He and his dad own Sugar Valley Canoe Rentals. And so they're a much larger business. But yeah, I've got a real good idea on the liability insurance and what's required as minimums for that type of thing. And the general liability that it's required for the restaurant covers that as well. Yeah, so it's not extreme, not too bad. Now, that's on Sugar Creek. Will an insurance company look at it different if it's on the Wabash River? I don't know. I haven't gotten into that yet. But those extra things will be not when we first open up.
Right.
You know, I want to make sure it's safe and that some kid's not at dinner and falling in the river first, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. So I've got to look at safety and things like that. I've contacted the Army Corps of Engineer already as well, and they're okay with the clearing. They said if I'm clearing the brush and things like that, as long as I am not disturbing the shoreline, that I can go through and clear things and have equipment down there and do that type of work. But my insurance agent is Robin Somerville, and she doesn't do the, they don't like to, State Farm doesn't like to insure liquor licenses, but she's farming it out, and in a couple of days I should have an exact quote for what it would require for insurance costs for a 65-seat restaurant, maybe an occupant load of 80 people, something like that over there. Maybe 70 or 80, depends on when we design it, how much open space we have, but it's probably like $800 or $900 a month for the general liability insurance for the business. But that's all I have for you. I really appreciate your time, and I hope, you know, not fingers crossed, because really everything's lined up. The owner of that building's going out of town. He's got some stuff he needs to take care of, then he's going out of town for a week to some car show. Then when he comes back, he needs 1 week to move the things out of that building that he wants to keep, like a 1930 Packard, a car, and a few other things. He needs a week to move that stuff out, and so that's all lined up, and we're agreed to close the deal and do everything on the 15th of August. And he's already got money, and I've got and I've got an intent to sell. So I don't see it going south. I see it going through finally. But thank you for your time. I appreciate
Good
it.
luck.
Yeah, thank you for putting this together. Yeah.
Jake, could I,
Yep.
while you were talking there,
Yeah.
Aaron?
And the family.
Nathan.
They can go.
Nathan.
What was your last name?
His
Gil.
his uncle's Aaron.
Yeah.
I looked up liquor licenses in Montezuma. There's the one for Hub's Pub, whatever that was.
Yeah.
They listed as pending auction at the state, at ATC. I don't know, I tried to find out what that, how they do their auctions. I have no idea.
That's fine.
I would suggest.
I have a contact there that I've been speaking to the last few days.
It's the exact kind of license you want. It's a 210
Yeah.
in town.
I know
Cold carry out
they
and
had to-
on-premise, all
They
that.
had
Yeah.
to
Beer,
They
liquor,
had
wine,
to-
restaurant.
their own.
Hub's,
They had
it's
to
the one for Hub's Pub. I mean, I looked it up. It's got the license.
Very
You take a
interesting.
picture of it if you
Well,
want.
Hub's Pub is the one that's kind of doing good business down here right
Well-
now. It's not called that, but I
No,
wonder.
that
if
license,
No.
I looked up the one on Washington Street. They've got their own license.
Yeah.
Really?
They went and got their own because there
They
was
had
something
to.
tied up with all of
Well,
that
that's
at the time.
fantastic. That's really good. That's probably the opportunity. That's probably the opportunity right there.
She had to go get her own, I think.
Well, thank you, sir.
Well, I don't know.
I appreciate it. I'll
Yeah.
be digging into it here in just a few minutes. Thank you.
There was
Thank
another
you.
one that showed pending
Good job,
transfer, but I appreciate
Yes, thank you.
Nice.
don't remember what.
Diana.
Well, I don't know if I can, I'm excited
Top
about,
that.
yeah, I'm excited about Paving. That
It was a
will
liquor store. It was a liquor
definitely
store.
put us on the map.
Drink slingers.
Yeah.
The Park Board
It's
met
beautiful.
in July, and today, new river access signs were posted on the highway by the DNR. Then Kyle Shannon has been hired to lay blocks at the restrooms at Reeder Park, and he should begin that real soon. All the masonry and blocks have been purchased. The privacy fence at the bathrooms has been power washed. Cindy and Annie did that today, and the fence is going to be restained. And the inside of the restrooms were power washed today, and preparations are being made to epoxy the floors. So we're trying to get it cleaned up and make it inviting for people to come back and spread the word about how nice it is to camp there. So that's our beginning. I'm not sure, have we been here since the 4th of July?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
never mind. Okay, and I think that's it. It was not financially feasible to do the poly walls, and Sarah was nice enough to take her time to come and help us measure and give us an estimate, but it was just not financially feasible. So that's why we went with the blocks.
Understand.
And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Victoria?
Do I stand? I've never.
It's up to you.
You don't have to unless you want to.
Well, I'll move up here so you guys can hear me better. As most of you know, it was my son that passed away in the river. My ex, his biological father, was wanting me to come and make an appeal to you guys. He would like to put a custom granite bench. We were gonna go with the original benches that you guys have over there, but he has been in contact with a monument shop, and he wanted to know if it would be possible to put it's all granite in the cemetery along one of the pathways. If there's any extra fees that we need for like the foundation. I think I read the regulation size, the larger one is 70 by 20. We're gonna make sure that we keep it within that regulation size. But I didn't know if it would be appropriate, because I know we're trying to uniform everything in the cemetery as well.
So are you still intending to buy 2 plots and you want it over those 2 plots? Because that's a foundation size.
Okay, I didn't know. I mean, if we need to buy plots, we can do that.
Or are those other benches sitting on foundations?
No, they're sitting on leftover concrete from the bridge.
But that's what we could charge her just to put it anywhere, right?
Yeah,
Just the
would have to,
charge for the Mars Foundation.
we don't have
or
any
whatever.
more, the slabs would have to form it and pour concrete. But that's very doable.
I did have someone reach out and they're willing to do the I know you guys do it in town. He said he could do it too if you guys couldn't do that. So I do also have a resource for the concrete if we need foundations poured, but I know you guys have your own special way of doing things. We just would like to try to keep everything within the community the best that we can, because he loved this town.
Where are you wanting to put it?
I'm not sure exactly what you have available out there. I know there is benches along the west side of the first pathway by the chapel. If we could put it somewhere along the west side of that path, that would be great, because I know you guys are getting ready to open up new plots and extend the roadways a little bit more, so I don't want to interfere with that.
I think we have the roadways found and all that, so
Okay.
there should be room on that west road. I'm looking at Brad shaking his head, yeah.
If possible, I mean, if you guys would be willing to meet out there and show me exactly where the roadways will be and what might be available to place,
Okay.
I would love to do that with you guys. He should be in town, I'm thinking August 2nd or 3rd, about the time of your next board meeting. So if he's been here before that, maybe we can meet and I can show him what we have available, because he lives in North Carolina.
Okay.
So he's out of town, but
Okay.
I guess I'm kind of executing everything from him, so I didn't know if that would be possible, but if it is, I know that everybody would appreciate it. I know, like I said, it's not going to be exactly uniform, but it will be all granite, and I will gladly help maintain the cemetery too. I used to actually maintain Bono Cemetery for years and years and years with Steve and Rhonda Thomas, and then Rhonda passed away, so.
Okay. Tomorrow's Friday. Are you around tomorrow for?
Yes, I will be
I meet
available.
with John at 10, I think, and Jay.
Okay.
So after our meeting, how about if I get a hold of you?
Okay.
And we'll go up there. You around tomorrow, Rex?
I will be until about 12,
Okay.
12:30. So yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
We'll see who we can get up there.
Okay.
And Brad will be around too, so. the road in the new part just really lines up with the blacktop from the other roads that go east and west. But we can make it happen, and we'll.
I appreciate that a lot. I mean, I'm speaking on his behalf too. I know that they appreciate everything that the community has done for us.
Good.
Thank you.
We're sorry for your loss.
Yes.
But I don't know where we'd be without you guys. You guys are helping hold us up so much, so thank you.
Thank you. Skip?
Yeah,
Yeah.
12 rents for the month, so we're a little over halfway, so hopefully it stays
12.
kind of like that. 12, yes. I don't know if Kurt sent it all out, there was a small video for the truck that came in. You should be getting sometime soon.
I shared it with them.
Yeah, it looks
Perfect.
nice.
So you all seen that, it kind of gives us an idea of what it looked like. The only thing missing on it, that we're waiting on is the skid unit. So that's supposed to be here any day now, according to Kurt. And it's a waiting game, then we'll go down and check it out and hopefully bring it home here by the end of the month. So, I know last meeting I talked about the lights for the meeting area. I did some research. Regardless of where we go, we're looking at about $2,500 overall for the lights that'll be all in the bay, the kitchen, and the bathrooms. So as soon as I narrow it down, Kathy will get you an actual better price and location, and we'll go from there. So, I don't think she heard me, but that's all right.
Yeah.
He's
I
gonna
was
get
looking at you.
She's looking for money.
yeah. So, but that's all we got going on. So appreciate it all. See what comes up and go from there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you. Appreciate the support. It's more important.
John?
I looked up some stats today. The last 4 weeks, we've had 49 calls for service, resulted in 6 arrests. We issued 7 traffic citations and 12 warnings for traffic. We do have a new office phone now, 765-245-5109. Just a reminder to anybody that that's more of a question and answer line. Anything requiring an officer to be dispatched still needs to go through Parke County.
What was that number again, John?
765-245-5109.
Is there an answering machine on it?
There it is.
Thank you.
And last week when I was on vacation, Randy wrote up a property violation on 1433 North Market Street, which is the Persinger property, but that property is in foreclosure, so.
I live next door to it.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm wondering.
Mr. Persinger had spent some time incarcerated up until right around the 1st of July. I don't think we've had utilities there for quite some time either, have we, Kathy?
No, it's been February, March, I think.
So, at a bare minimum, once we hit our 10-day mark, I don't see any reason why we couldn't run down there with the mower and knock that down.
That house right there.
So I've been cutting what connects to mine all the way over to his driveway because I look out my kitchen window at it. But I haven't gone across the
I know it
driveway.
is in foreclosure because I had served the bank papers on it, so outside of that, eventually somebody's gonna take ownership of it.
Yeah.
We'll do what we can to get it manageable.
Beautiful.
The grasses. At one point, I wondered if somebody was in there and hadn't come out.
Well, he comes and goes.
He does? See, I never see anybody coming and going.
I mean, I've seen him stay in there for 2 or 3 hours at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, no power and no water. That's interesting.
Are you guys talking about the same place?
Yes. I only see it when I let my dog out.
But
So I'm not out there watching, but when I go out there, I don't ever see anybody.
I'm not a snoop, but like I said, it's right out.
Well, you're
it's
right
a
next
window.
to it. Yeah, you're right next door to it. Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't have anything new to update.
Thanks,
Appreciate
John.
your support as always.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Brad?
The dump truck's been out of commission for about a week, but it's getting looked at tomorrow. So hopefully we get that back and then we can start cleaning up Reeder Park. And then, I didn't know if anybody heard about when the paving is supposed to.
Yeah, we just talked about that. No,
It's
we
been
don't.
delayed, is what I heard. I don't know if that's rumor.
I know they were supposed to be here like the
It's
first
supposed
of
to be in
July.
July,
Yeah.
but it's probably gonna be another month, month and a half is what I heard.
Oh, wow.
So is
They're
that,
behind in Clinton and they're behind in the Terre Haute project.
Oh, boy.
so is that gonna be right during Covered Bridge for us?
Should be the 1st of September, hopefully. But I can contact Ronnie in the morning, see if he's got a
Would you please?
better update.
Thank you.
Other than that, that's it.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
Well, okay. I have the annual list of requests from the Covered Bridge Committee with a couple of new twists this year. So I'll read through them and then I'll leave it with you. I request permission to close North Washington Street from US 36 to East Wilkinson Street from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. for a cruise-in on Saturday, October 14th. Request permission to close North Washington Street from US 36 to East Wilkinson Street for a street fair in honor of the town's 200th birthday celebration from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. on Saturday the 21st. The street fair would take place between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Request permission to close a section of East Crawford Street to the west of North Washington Street for food vendors from Monday, October 9th for vendor setup through October 22nd. Request electricity in the festival area from Monday, October 9th through Sunday, October 22nd. Request picnic tables to be placed near vendor trailers on Crawford Street. I don't have a number, but maybe you guys remember. I need 7 trash cans for the festival area. Request use of the town's Kubota side-by-side to pull the canal tour wagon during the festival. Request permission to place 6 country store signs and banners on Jefferson in front of the Scout House and in the median on the end cap on the east end of Crawford Street. Request permission to park the tour wagon in front of the shack on North Washington during the festival days. The Kubota will be relocated to Chuck and Anita Allen's garage at the end of each day for safekeeping. Request permission to, this is the twist. Request permission to use the town logo for the following. Banners on US 36, 5 or 6 of them. These banners will have hardware that wraps around the power poles. A large banner with the logo at the entrance to the festival area on Crawford Street. So we're going to build some kind of an arch that will lead people into the vendor area. And then we're going to put historical pictures on the arch. Understanding that the logo is not to be used for profit, we don't really consider ourselves to be a for-profit organization. So we would like permission to use the logo in order to promote Montezuma's 200th anniversary by having promotional items made and sold, such as t-shirts, sweatshirts, cups, and can koozies. And I think we'd really like to get going on the banners pretty quick. We don't want to wait until October to get those up. That's everything I have.
Don't forget to ask for the wagon.
Oh, I have to ask for the wagon separately? Okay.
Duly noted and asked.
Well, I mentioned pulling the wagon, but I didn't ask for it, so can I have the wagon too?
any questions, concerns, any issues?
I have one additional item. They're planning to collect pictures from Montezuma from past in the early.
As far back as we can go.
And when they finish with these pictures downtown during the festival, can they be hung out here in the hallway where the old Cover Bridge pictures were, the wooden pictures? It's already set up there for it, and all they would have to do is just hang them. And I suggested that at the meeting.
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a great
Yeah.
idea. It's history. It's already out there for something to be hung on. Yeah,
I feel like it would be a good,
Yeah.
worthwhile thing.
we'd appreciate it.
Great, cool. So anybody that's got any old pictures too, if you have them digitally, I'd love to have copies of them. So far, I've got about 140.
We've got a couple pictures down at the club, Fish and Game Club, of the flood of
1913.
Good one. You're in it.
Yeah. I mean, down South Washington Street, they're standing on the old hotel that was at the north end of the park on the foundation and took the picture down south.
Cool.
I'll make a motion, we approve Grant's request for Covered Bridge Festival closures and openings and whatever.
I'll second.
There you go.
Just pick.
I already had a B down. You are leaving that with me, aren't you? Because
You want it? I was gonna give it to Jay, but I'll give it to you.
I couldn't write fast enough.
Okay, there you go. Sure. Thank you.
That'll help.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Graham.
Have a good evening.
See you later.
Good, thank you.
Got anything?
I have no opinion.
All right, now let's go back to the agenda. Well, to start with, we've been, everybody here knows it, but we've had we did some, in the process of rearranging our town structure by adding the position of a town manager. And we had a fellow, I'd say, step forward. And
thrust into the spotlight.
And it's John Cook, so he's gonna be both and everything, but we have a contract for him. And we've all reviewed that. And it's ready for signatures.
We got to vote on it.
Yep.
And
So-
if you approve that, then it'd be ready to be signed by you and John.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the town marshal / town manager agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. You want to just sign this copy I got?
Congrats.
No.
Talk to the office manager.
Well, I can't remember if I copied it after we filled in the,
Oh, there was a blank in
just signed it. I
there.
had to fill in a blank. I might have copied, I don't know.
There was a date I
Just
didn't
sign
know.
that.
No, I just signed this one. Shut up.
Yes, that'll make it easier.
And as I said before, I don't know, John, whether it's congratulations or condolences, but
I'm not sure either.
we're glad to have you.
I'll let you know next year.
You gotta have your signature, please.
Maybe next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even know which one to write with.
I just marked that out.
Yeah,
Mark it out.
just scratch that out. I'm sorry.
It says August instead of,
Oh.
yes. Your
Just trust me.
I signed yours.
We put a date in there.
10/5/2020.
I didn't know the
That's
date you signed
Oh.
originally. If anything else got changed, Kat, it did.
It was just on the signature where it says August. We marked it out and put it on.
Just as long as
Thank you.
No, he said sign it.
You did great.
Okay, when do we want to make this happen?
24th.
What?
It says on your copy of your
Okay.
salary ordinance amendment,
Oh, I haven't looked at that yet.
Starts with pay
week
period.
ending date of July 30th, which would be a pay date of August 3rd, which means starting Monday, it goes into effect.
Okay. All righty.
Perfect.
And then the housekeeping, it's on there too for that amendment, but it went into effect on July 25th.
So we need,
And we need to pass this ordinance.
Yes.
So I make a
It goes
motion
with the contract.
to pass ordinance 2023-07-01.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See that email from Dustin?
Yeah.
That's kind of good news, isn't it?
It is good. Yeah, it's, yeah, we can talk about that.
I was like down the part.
I don't know where that is.
The old
What is
swimming
that?
pool.
Yeah, I was like, where the heck is that?
Nothing that's what it's on you.
Where did the swimming pool used to be at Reeder Park exactly?
I'm sorry?
The swimming
swimming
pool
pool?
at Reeder Park, was it down below?
When he
or-
said something about pictures,
Yes, it was on the south end of the park.
it's
where
like a
that
postcard of
playground.
it, and I was
Where
like,
the
where the
Eagle
heck was that?
Pavilion
So
is
he's got a
down there.
postcard
It's
for
about
that.
right in there. It was right there where the
There was
little
a
pavilion
a
is.
drive
With the old
coming off of
pavilion?
Where
Washington
the
Street,
little
coming back on
pavilion is
Washington
right
Street.
now. It was right around there,
Oh.
yeah. It
And
was
ended
filled
up-
with artesian water.
Yeah, they call it, I mean, I was just, when he said something about pictures, it made me look and see if I saw anything on, sometimes you find stuff on eBay, you know? So there was one of the swimming pool at Mineral Springs, Montezuma,
Right,
Indiana.
yeah.
Big old hotel.
And
We,
they were,
Quite the,
it was,
at
really.
least the
Yeah,
part I could see.
everything on the
And this
inside
was
was
kinda fun, too.
decorated in Mexican stuff.
Oh, really?
And it was all wood
Where
enclosed,
you want?
wooden fence enclosed the whole thing.
Is that right?
Because we lived down there where
Uh-huh.
Caps live,
And there's this one,
and
over downtown, I think I've seen that.
the stream just run through the swimming pool.
Yes.
And they had a bottom drain and an overflow.
Just when he
It
said
was
something
always
about
fresh
it.
water.
Sometimes it's when it's
Well,
on
it
eBay.
stinks. And they pull that plug, but they put that plug right back up on the concrete there.
You can order
It's
those.
back in there, the kids go back in there, we'd plug it up. They'll have a dining class for them, had a snack bar.
Jack Wilburn used to talk about how every Sunday the guys would trade weeks and they would get to go in there and swim free if they went down, volunteered to go down and pull the plug.
Yeah,
And because they had to scrub the sides
yeah.
But this one
once
looks
a
like
week.
the actual.
But he said, 50 cents was a pretty big deal in that day, so they would get to swim for free.
And then there was a spigot down just north of the pool on the
There's also,
thing, and that's when it was all grown up.
Okay.
And we'd sit out there on the corner and they'd come out of Indianapolis. And, this was in the mid-50s, and we'd get their glass jug and it was $1.
$1 a jug.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
And mid-50s for a kid, that's a lot of money.
I'd say so, yeah. That's pretty cool.
But
Well,
it was really decorated, and it had a 2-lane bowling alley down the basement.
really?
Yeah.
That.
I
didn't know that.
Interesting.
I spent a lot of time in there when I wasn't supposed to.
Wow. Well, that's pretty neat.
19
We try to tell them all about that on the tour
Yeah.
every year. But you can smell it on a good day.
Yeah, oh, the
Coming out-
town gets
coming right
complaints
out.
about sewage running into the river down by the boat ramp at least once a
I
year.
know, it's not that, it's the artesian
Yeah.
water. Yeah, I know there, when I was a kid, I always lived in the south end of town and the boys thought it was funny to just let that run wide open and that whole end of town would smell like rotten eggs.
And if you want to get rid of chiggers or poison ivy, that's the stuff to use.
we should talk to Item about this thing we have to, we're making us fix all this water. We should say it's got
Yeah.
magic healing
Use some of
powers.
that.
But when they were,
Saves
they
us a lot of
weren't,
money.
when
Is
they
it
were
closed off
digging,
completely now?
when they
Or
were
not?
digging or
No,
drilling, they weren't
you
trying
can't
to
stop
find
it,
the
it's gonna find its way
water.
to the river.
They were
no
trying
matter
to
what.
find
So-
natural gas.
Oh.
Is
So
what they were
does it
trying to
drip
find,
off
but they
like
found
that? Like you could go
artesian
down
water.
still and fill up something?
No,
No,
it
it's not
don't
like
run
that.
right. Well, maybe if you put something under, if you could find a stream, but it'd be hard to keep mud out of it.
Maybe a restaurateur could figure out a way to make brew beer using that
Yeah.
stinky
There
water.
you go.
Kombucha with.
I'm really
Stinky
excited
water.
about that. That is awesome. I hope he can do it.
Some pretty ambitious plans.
Yeah. I hope he can make it happen.
Okay, everybody saw the email, and you got a copy in here from Dustin and Mike Novak with all the good news.
Yes.
I don't know what our next step is, I guess wait
Well,
till.
the only thing we want to maybe put in the record is that you agree to go through with funding from SRF. We have to respond by August 1st to SRF to tell them, yes, we want to be in your funding for next year. Now, they don't have the same kind of year we do. They use a fiscal year. They run end to end. And, well, they're going to want to know, and Dustin, I haven't talked to Dustin. I saw his email. He sent another email to me about scheduling. So we're going to try and get together with Mike and Pat Callahan or whoever and figure out when we think we'd be ready. SRF's the agency that funds these things, and they do so many a quarter, so many a week, and so they want us to kind of predict for them right now, what 3-month period do you want to do this? Which would be after bid opening, sometime after bid opening, and we know what our project's going to cost. We want to be in that quarter. So Dustin needs to, kind of relook at his numbers and figure out some of that stuff. And then we probably need to talk to that grant administrator about making sure it lines up with Okra. It gets, the timing of these things becomes this, it'd be easy if it was all just in one place and they all, Okra's grants lined up with SRF. So the good news is, and we've shared this before, I think, is that SRF is saying that we can add in some stuff down the sewer treatment plant. So that's going to be great. SRF is a good funding program. They do have, we won't know yet. I don't know when they're going to tell us. They may not tell us yet how much they'll do in forgivable loan versus borrowing the money. It depends on what your rates are now and what your rates will be, depending, we just don't know yet. But they do have a lot of forgivable loan money that they can offer.
Now that money we've spent so far, like for Hannah Wagon Klein and blah, 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 that would be reimbursable,
We
right?
reimburse ourselves for all the expenses that we've incurred related to the project, if we choose to, or that can be just part of our income. Well, yeah, I mean, that's less we have to borrow maybe or something like that, depends on what you want to do. So you did score, I've seen that scoring chart 100 times now because it's all over. There were 75 maybe that applied, and I don't totally understand their scoring system. It has to do with number of customers, but there's all these factors. You guys probably scored highly because of the item issues that we're having. Your rates are already fairly high, so that is important. So you were 7th out of 70 some. So
is that good or bad?
Yeah.
It's called needy.
It's called your turn.
Yeah.
So, and we have not done SRF stuff. That's a factor. SRF tends to loan. City of Clinton, City of Terre Haute, they go to SRF all the time. Sewer projects. They're doing all their sewer stuff through them. So SRF has a mandate because it's really federal money that they're spending. Okay, so the feds have said we need you to make sure you're not. We want to see this going to other places too. That probably helped you as well, I'd say. But it doesn't matter. You're up there. You're in what they call the fundable range. So if we say yes, we want the money, we want to borrow it from you and get the grant from you, the forgivable loan from you. That will lock us into closing next year. Now, I say lock in. I mean, they understand things happen. It happens all the time.
So we need to agree tonight to pass or to.
You want to go through SRF for your funding. Again, also the other thing important, just know, it doesn't mean that we can't change our mind, and if somebody comes to town and says, I want to give you $10 million, you can say, okay, never mind SRF. So it doesn't, or you decide you don't want to do the project, which isn't really an option. Other places, sometimes it can be if or you scale, take something out of it, but this isn't jumping off. This is like getting, I don't even know, this is like getting, it's not quite getting engaged, it's like getting a promise ring or something. Okay.
So need a
So we
motion.
need a
Makes it easier
motion
for
to
you.
move forward with the SRF
Finance.
finance.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So that sounds good. You caught up? Yeah. Okay.
Wait on Eddie.
Okay. Thomas Hardesty has requested use of River Park and River Park Family Pavilion for Saturday, September 23rd, 2023 for an annual 5K family run, walk run, and is asking for the pavilion fee, rental fee of $5 to be waived.
Well, since they donated $1,600 back, I think
Yeah.
$5 is
Yeah.
I was say this is the same one as last year's thing.
I make a motion, we waive the fee for
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That's on the 23rd?
23rd.
Okay.
Saturday, 23rd.
Okay. Alex Falls, who works for Milestone and owns Road Hogs, has asked if he could have the portion of the street paved in front of his bar for customers park at his own expense when Milestone is in town doing a paving project. And
I
okay.
emailed Scott about it because I wasn't for sure. I didn't know if that contract with NDOT would not allow it or would allow it.
Right.
I know before, when we had community crossings money, we added a portion of Aztec Drive that wasn't in the project, but it had to be totally separate.
I think it'd be like that. I don't think they're, if it's, I mean, I don't, matter of fact, I'd almost tell them, do your own contract with them while they're here, Alex, and just, you know, have them come paved in front of your, it's our property, so he may need our permission or something
Yeah.
like that. But since he's
Because
paying
we
for it, then
have-
we just aren't even in,
Yeah.
we're not even paying for it.
Other than catch all the gup, but we did a favor for him.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
We're not gonna get out of that.
It's
anyway.
part of your, it's part of the town's right of way. It's not
Yeah.
like on his, it's not his personal driveway.
The
But-
thing is, if they have a leak, Brad, when was that, there was a leak down there? Was it when you first opened it up and you had to cut into there? I mean, he'd be just out of luck if we had to do that.
Well, yeah.
Well,
We
that'd
patch it the
be
same way
his-
you'd patch it.
You'd have
you
to
know,
patch it.
But
Yeah.
it makes, I understand his, I mean, I don't know him, but he realizes it's gonna be cheaper to get that done when they're already here doing all
Right.
that. All they gotta do is haul in another
Whatever.
small amount of it, and they've already got everything there. They can just do it. It would be inexpensive compared to having somebody come
So
do it.
it is, yes.
As long as he understands if there's a leak and the town has to cut it up, we would just patch it. Like we would
Yeah.
anywhere else.
Yeah.
We're not gonna replace the entire thing then. I mean,
I vote yes.
second, if you have to have a thing on it.
I need a motion.
Not really,
But
no.
just an agreement that
Yeah.
his own expense and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
With the understanding.
And understanding that no expense to the town, make sure that gets in there. Because we will hear about it.
Yeah, community crossings won't pay for anything that wasn't in
no.
the original scope of the
No.
project, so that's fine.
Okay.
So the asphalt will get cheaper the longer we wait?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
Fire department, do we need heavier anchor for our boat?
That's the least of our worries at this moment in
I
time.
understand that. I know you're still waiting for a fire truck, but I just had some understanding that during the river attempted rescue and the recovery, that was some problem, was running around looking for a heavier
Yeah, there
anchor.
just wasn't nothing between all the boats, there just wasn't enough to keep them
Anchored together.
anchored together and going down,
Right.
trying to stay in that area so they could scan that area.
Sure.
They were dragging across the bottom, so it was just the type of anchors we had and all that. For our little boat, I think the anchor we have would be suffice, but that's Kathy's not gonna wanna hear this, that's another topic for another day.
Quit saying Kathy, it's them.
No, because you're the one that always opens up the budget check.
Look at me, but it's them.
Well, if, what kind of anchor you got? Just a ball anchor or?
It's just a little non-fluted, just like a little round bottom with the holes in it. You drive it. For our boat, it's all right. It's But,
I mean, if they get a hidden hinge anchor, that's what's made,
yeah,
just a triangle and it'll come down and it'll dig in at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's what they're made for, is river.
the only bad part about those though, if you get them wrapped around a log or something
Well,
like that.
yeah, you need
you're out of
spares, yeah,
So,
but they're usually not that expensive.
no,
Gotta take your knife.
Yeah,
yeah, reach it out as far as you can and get the rope.
Walmart's got some of those, the navy ones, the ones with the hinge on them.
Uh-huh.
They're not terribly high. They're like 15-pound ones. Would that be enough?
That'd be more than enough for our little boat.
Would they damage the boat being in the boat?
Well, ours they might because of the points, because ours is just inflatable.
Yeah.
Well, these are coated with like rubber
Okay.
stuff or
yeah,
plastic.
you could, if nothing else, just take a garden hose and cut it and wrap around there, cover the point.
Yeah.
Well, the bottom's hard.
Yeah.
It's got that,
Well,
the panels across the bottom of the boat.
Oh, it does.
underneath though
Okay.
is still
Oh, yeah.
inflatable, but
Yeah.
that would, I mean, we would take one if we could get one, we could probably, but normally we don't do a whole lot of
Right. I understand.
operations like that,
I
so,
just didn't know if there's something that'd be handy or not.
but, it's, again, it's a topic for another day. There's some research that we gotta do on our end to verify on a different route that we need to go. Especially if there's gonna be a restaurant and kayaks and canoes going from up north to down south, so.
Agree. Agree.
There'll be a little bit more action on the river.
We need something faster than canoes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to go upstream and you're getting passed by canoes is not a good thing, and you're a motorboat.
Yeah.
Okay. Duly noted.
I mean, yeah, we would take whatever we can get in this meantime, but, you know, to hold us until we need to, but usually what we're going after right now, other than the other situation that we just had with lost kayakers, lost canoers who basically forgot to get off at West Union, so.
Yeah.
That's really our biggest issue we have right now.
Okay.
Probably.
Good. That's all I got.
Oh.
I don't have anything.
Well, I got a request, and I told him I'd bring it up, but I'm gonna ask you, don't agree to it. I got a fellow from Hillsdale that wants that tree down in he wants part of that tree down in the park, get what he wants and then leave the rest. And JB,
Oh,
and I don't recommend that at all, but I told him I'd bring it up and ask. Because all he'll do is make a mess if he don't get hurt. So,
Not well.
what's he
That's
needed for
Liability is an
Liability.
issue.
Good, yeah.
liability?
That's why we can't let him go to the compost.
What's he
Yeah.
needed for, Jay, firewood?
yeah,
Okay.
Kathy gave me a good answer, liability, can't do it.
What's a tree that's already on the ground?
From the storm.
Yeah.
Just a quick little community fact. Southwest Park schools are free breakfast and lunches this school year, and there are no textbook fees this year.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So,
What's your tax?
Wow. That's big.
it's a grant. I think it's a grant.
It's big.
Oh, really?
I think it's a program that we,
Oh,
participation numbers and all that is how it's, yes, so it's a great deal for families.
That's corporation wide,
Southwest Park.
Southwest.
Now, I don't know about North,
Yeah, North Central.
yeah, I don't know about all that. I just know Southwest Park, 2 elementaries and Riverton Park are all in that.
I think it's statewide.
That's awesome.
What textbooks is.
Yeah.
Lunches, I don't know.
You said breakfast or breakfast and lunch?
Breakfast and lunch, yep. But that's just Southwest Park, I
Right,
know
yeah.
for a fact.
Right.
So, helps our community here with the elementary school, so that's a nice deal. And our junior high and high school.
Is that a 2-year deal?
That I'm not sure, because I'm not sure if ours is, I need to get more information on if ours is the grant or if ours is the actual program that you go in and then it's based off of your participation and numbers.
Because my kids go to Fountain Central and it's something within, it was 2 years.
Okay.
I don't know much about it.
That I'd have to verify. I just know starting school out, parents don't have to worry about it right now, so,
That's great.
in our community.
Thanks for the information. Sarah?
I only have one thing. I've been approached by a few people asking about the parking in front of the post office. They ask if there would be any way if we took like the corner across the street and did 15-minute parking there, which would maybe take those parkers that have been there and don't move. I talked to the lady in the post office, and she said that I asked her if there was an issue with parking, and she said, well, the problem is that people won't park farther down. They just park wrong on the wrong side of the road to do it and run in and run out.
Right.
So I was just thinking, well, if we could do just a section of that across the street, 15-minute.
Like from 8 to 4 or 8 to 3.
Yeah. 15-minute parking only or whatever. And
Even
then,
if you did the first three
the
or
first 3 slots.
spots.
Yeah. At least that would leave
But I don't know. We've
easier
discussed it
parking
before.
for elderly to get across to the post office. It's, I've noticed that some people are parking around the corner and walking around the corner because there's no spots or, so it's just a suggestion, but people are asking.
It's up to you guys, you can do whatever, I mean, I know, I'm just thinking of Dana has a spot right in front of their post, maybe one, at least one spot, maybe 2, that they have some, I know it's temporary parking only, or I don't know if it's 15 minutes or something like that, so that people could pull up, go in post office, because I always park over there when I go to their town meetings, and I can never park in that spot. Because their meetings are longer than 15 minutes.
Well, and those cars aren't moving. Yeah, we did the N3.
They've got room in the back they can park.
Right.
I thought there was a ordinance that stated there were not any cars allowed to be parked permanently on Main Street. I think that it is in our ordinances.
I know when Mom worked at the bank, they were not allowed to park on Washington.
But did
They had
it
to park
change when the
on.
residential started staying there?
Yeah.
Well,
Because we've talked about this parking across the street
Yes,
before.
this has been a conversation before. We just need to
Look into it.
look into it more, yeah.
Yeah, and and people parking on the wrong side of the street for 6 and 7 hours too, that bugs the heck out of me.
And that was, I wanted to tell Nathan, that's where the semi thing came into play. Because there were semis parked along Crawford Street all day, all night, and we said, no more parking there long-term, but we'll allow you to park at the end of the street by the bridge. And that was the way they didn't have to, go way off somewhere and park, but they could park at the end of the street, but not along Crawford where business traffic was.
So that's all I have.
Kathy?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
You've been well behaved tonight. Scott?
I know we talked about this last meeting, but the invitation quotes tear down and clean up 1263 North Jefferson. We sent them to, I don't remember, 4 places maybe, total. Kathy, we got contact info for a couple you mentioned from Kathy. I think I sent one to Lubavitch and Robbie Farrington too. So we'll see what we get. Hopefully we'll get 4, get a good cheap one, but we'll see. That'll be at your next meeting.
Good deal. Glad to hear it.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Now I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So-